Now let's take a look at this on the Angular side and build that same repository using the module pattern in our Angular application. So far we've got a task manager application that has a task, and basically this task has complete and save. It's got two functions on it, and it's doing this save, and basically all we're doing is console.log saving task. But we don't want to mix our database code, actually on the Angular side, our API code, so this would be calling back to an API. We don't want to mix that API code into our task. We want something else to deal with that for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a task repository. And that task repository is what's going to deal with all of the API calls for us. And so then down here, what we want to be able to do is do a task repository.save and pass in this task object and have that deal with all of that database stuff for us. Now, the first thing we're going to do when we do that is we're going to create a new file called task repo. And this is where we're going to build that module. If you remember, in our other code, in our node code, we had a repo, get and save, and that's all it had on it. We're actually going to copy this function. And then we're going to use that over here. So we're going to start with our IFI, and we're going to get our Angular application. That's the first thing we always want to do. So var app equals angular.module, and we want task manager. That's what we created it over here as, angular.module task manager, so that's what we're going to pull in. All right, so we're going to create a task repo, and that's going to be a function. And we can actually paste this same code, get rid of the double function there, and ask for $HTTP, and it works the same way. So I now have a task repository with a get function and a save function, and then we're using that revealing module pattern down here where we have a get and a save. Now the only thing we still have to do, let's beautify that a little bit so we know what's going on, is add that to our Angular application. So app.service, and we are looking for task repository, and we're going to pass in this task repo function that we've created. So basically all this is, it's the same thing we did on the node side. This is a object with a get and a save, and we're returning get and save. It's going to handle all of that code for us. And then over on the task side, we're just going to call that. When we click save, we're just going to call that save to this. Now, one other thing we want to do, notice we're never actually calling save. So task.prototype.complete, when we complete a task, we're going to set it to completed. We're also going to save it. So let's do this. This dot save. All right, so what we should see in our console when we run this is we should see completing task, task 1. We should see in our repository saving task 1 to the database when we do all that. So I'm going to click. One very important thing we did not do is add our task repo. There we go. To our scripts. Okay, now I'm going to refresh. And when I click task 1, completing task 1, saving task 1 to the database. So now all of our HTTP code, all of our API calls and everything like that can be pushed out to this repository built using the module pattern. So we just have a module that handles all that stuff for us. Now, on the get side, we could do the same thing. We're not going to do it right now, but I would challenge you to go ahead and try it. If you go to your script.js, here I'm pulling in some tasks. This would be the same thing. I would pull these in from my task repo and then create new tasks out of it.